anniversary protests since the deadly 2024 protest that claimed about 60 lives. And today in studio, I'm joined by a guest that is on my immediate right, Joel Olwoch, who's a lawyer. Thank you so much for making time for us today. And on my far right, we are joined by Friday Johnson, who is a political analyst, just to dissect there's a June 2024 commemoration, the second commemoration. And just to start off this discussion, this question is directed to Johnson. Do you think today's protest actually was worth it?
Thank you so very much for having me here today, and allow me to say that, yeah, it is justified. And from where I sit, I think it was an opportunity for people to sit and try to reflect what was and what has been so far. And I believe that anything that happens, any normal person ought to sit down and try to delve through what happened and what lessons were learned from it, what progressive things came out of it. And yeah, it's a good thing for us to remember so that it can form our basis of the basis of our future, so that we don't find ourselves in the same predicament we find ourselves in last time. Yeah.
And maybe to you, Joel, do you think this protest was really necessary? And owing to the fact that up to today, 2 years on, no one has been held accountable for the deaths that, for the people that lost their lives. You're talking about 60 lives. That's no joke, 60 lives. Do you think this protest is necessary?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on board. I've always believed that it is necessary all the times that citizens express themselves and share their plight to their government, because it is them who gave authority to the governments to lead. So if at one point they say that this government, instead of misleading us, it's ruling and misgoverning us, they need to be corrected, and that need to be restored by them practically going out and saying, this is the direction we need. Because, you know, again, when so many people come out to say certain things, it's proper that one should listen and understand that there's something that is not going on correctly. As for this protest, it was proper that we went outside because it was commemorative. We were remembering that there is a reason why we lost certain individuals on the 24th of June 2024, and they just didn't go outside there to make noise, but they went there to state certain things that are wrong in the construct of governance then. And most of those things probably were not addressed properly, and we are still facing the same problems moving forward. So it was important to go outside there, first to remember them, second to remind the government that there are some of these issues that needed to be addressed and are not yet addressed.
And maybe, do you think that the government actually addressed these issues? Because we are seeing the young people going back to the street over and over again during this commemoration, agitating for the same things that they agitated back in 2024.
You know, there might be 10 problems, but our government is a very clever one. It tries a way of addressing one out of the 10 to show that it is doing something. It's oscillating at some point, making very small progressive change to show the people that, you know, last time you people refused this finance bill, but this time you have brought something as this and this and this to at least survive for this. So our government is a very clever one. It knows how to oscillate slowly. It makes very small progresses to iron us so that we believe it's doing something. But it's too meager. The people need sporadic change, something bigger to bring a greater influence. For example, before we had the free education, the free primary and secondary education, education was very expensive, but it took a bold person to just come out and say, hey, we need to take children to school. That is bold. That's something that you can understand. It's not like a government who comes and tells you that, you know, a government of promises that tells you, no, next year we will be having, is it 1 million chapatis on the streets for children, school-going kids, or we will be fishing in River Nairobi, which is currently looks like a dump site. We need action. People are not just talking for the sake of talking, you know. Some people might think that probably we maybe get paid, or we're just mad. I had someone saying that you people are mad. We are not. We just need some things to be done correctly. Because, at a point of intellect, we get to know a lot of things that happen as compared to someone maybe on the ground or not well schooled. So some of these things need to be addressed properly. And as for me, I don't think our government is doing much in that spectrum.
And maybe I can give Johnson to respond to that.
Thank you. From where I sit, I think there has been some changes that are notable. For example, when you look at what transpired then and what led to that, there was, many people say that the government didn't come out so boldly to talk about what was in the finance bill. They didn't break down to the local mwananchi to have the grasp, to understand in depth what was entailed in that document. But when you look at what happened this year, we ought to give credit where it's due. And I feel the CS for finance did a very good job. Going out of his own way, tried to extrapolate, tried to break it down for the local mwananchi. I saw him in town trying to talk to the people, the phone vendors in town, trying to explain what this finance bill is going to do to them, what negatives are there and what positives entail in that document. He went also to Kamkunji to try to explain to people to understand that, hey, you don't need to oppose this thing minus reading it. You have an opportunity to try to delve into it, try to understand the nitty-gritties that are inside there for you to make an informed decision. And that we can say only came after the agencies came out boldly last time and demanded that the details of these documents be made available and be made readily for people to understand. So that is one aspect that maybe they have tried. Another aspect is they have tried to be very cautious and very careful when it comes to introducing new taxes. And if you could be if you can critically look into it, you will see that they've been able to shelve some taxes that were bordering onto local mwananchi and shifted them somewhere where the mwananchi could not understand better, But all in all, it is it's a journey. It's a process that will take time for us to be able to attain what the Gen Zs really wanted that particular moment.
But talking about change, you said in terms of public participation, it's something that was there before, just that maybe the leaders are just taking an extra step to ensure that citizens know about, as you've put it, a finance bill. But actually talking about the actual change, the governance, 2 years on, have we seen a change in governance? Also, have we seen the incorporation of young people in the governance sphere? And also at the same time, they're agitating for the cost. We have a very high cost of living. Actually, the cost of living has not gone down as we speak right now. We are talking about unemployment. The rates are really going high. So have we really seen an actual change in that regard?
I will not sit and hold brief for the government, but answering your question is, it is true that economic status and economic the struggle is still there. The agitation that was there for the economy to be stabilized and the economy to be managed well, we can say that that has not been attained fully. But from where I sit, I can say that that is a journey, and it's progressive. When the Gen Zs came out, they had very particular points. For example, they had an issue with corruption in the government, how the government was overspending their monies. And the last time we were told that the government or Kenyan government loses over 2 billion per day. So these were the things that made some people to get agitated. Do we see any proposals to cap that? Do we see government trying to cut down its expenditure? From where I sit, I can say that there are steps that have been put in place, though they have not yielded the much needed results. But I think it's a work in progress, and we believe that come next year we will see things unfolding for us.
And maybe to Brian, we've seen that we still have police excesses since that time. We still see people being arrested. Today we've seen several people who have been arrested. What would you comment on that in terms of change? Have we seen change in the security forces, how they handle issues?
One of the things that came about by the recommendations, the 10-point agenda, was addressing the police excesses and providing for proper regulations and giving police reforms, whereby it was prudent that the police become very cautious in handling the common mwananchi. If you attend some of these protests, while you are at the streets, before, and I am saying this because it is something I can attest to, most of the times before I get into the streets, before the police gets involved, the protests are very peaceful, as per Article 37, the spirits of Article 37. But in the event that the police gets involved, things get to change, and you wonder, is it the police that bring about this commotion, or is it the citizens, or is it the goons who are sponsored by the politicians? And nowadays, some even see hope out of police vans to actually, I don't know, come and curtail or do what to the protests. These are things that are provided for in our Constitution. Article 37 gives us the spirit to peacefully go and demonstrate to some of these things that we are against. And if we go and do that in the streets, we are hunted down like criminals. In fact, after the president on 24th, was it 24th of June last, or 2024, the president came out and called Gen Zs and the people who were on the streets as criminals. And he was very categorical. He never he said, our nation has been attacked by criminals. And that is not a very small thing. So you wonder, is it in his position to justify who your criminal is? So some of those things needs to be addressed. My brother here was saying the government is making progress. Well, I have contrary opinion, because I feel that our government is making progress at the expense of what they want us to see. Most of the bigger problems of our country are not properly addressed by this government. We have a serious problem we have serious corruption problems. We saw the other day when one of the governors could not account for almost 24 million. Some governors built pit latrines, two-door pit latrines of up to 500,000, and they are actually explaining it to the people, trying to convince them that that is the standard to build such latrines. And logically, that is not how things need to be handled. And again, they stop at that point. We need to be more accountable in how resources that are provided for by mwananchi are used. In the event that there is a misplaced priority in the budgeting and the expenditure of the same, proper factions, the EACC and the DCI, they need to get involved, because this is money that is from the people. This is authority that is vested by the people. They give these governors, these members of parliament, they give the government, they give the head of state that authority just to be there. And you see, again, something that has also come to my attention much lately is the propositions that have been given to the State House. And their spending has become too much. You see, they have been allocated for almost, was it 17 billion? Or? Yeah, which was way too much than other regimes. And you find when the Auditor General comes out and says, hey, some of these institutions have spent almost 70% of what needs to be spent in 5 years, and when they address the excesses in the government, you see someone as great as the president comes out and says, some of these institutions, they don't matter to us. And an Auditor General is the one who protects it. He is the oversighting body to say that here there are excesses, here there is much spending, and this needs to be taught down. So we are still very far, to me. There are most of these problems or these challenges that we are facing as a country, I don't think they are being addressed properly. We are on the right path, and but there's still much that needs to be done.
As you've rightfully put it, you've said that we're on the right path, and you also saying that there are some constitutional rights that were violated actually even today.
Yes.
We've seen the restriction of movement, of which people are supposed to have a free movement and access, and you know, businesses closing down, that means the country loses a lot of money. And maybe to pose this question to Johnson, what do you think we have a problem with in terms of accountability? Because 2 years on, we've not had an accountability for the losses that we incurred during the 2024 and the 2025. Where do you think we have bottlenecks in terms of giving justice to these victims and holding the people accountable who are responsible for the losses?
Thank you. Just to highlight what my brother has said here, the current allocation for State House for the 2026-2027 has been cut by around 4 billion, and the current allocation is 13.6 billion, just to set the record straight. Let me say that a question will beg, who is supposed to report these cases to the police for them to take action and to be able to follow up and to see the justice has been rendered to the victims? I was reading and I was checking the IPOA report, and IPOA reports that only 2 cases are in court. And as it has been said, over 60 lives were lost. So we expect over 100 cases to be in court at the moment. So that means that somebody somewhere is sleeping on the job on where or how to perform or how to go about this duty. If we only have 2 out of 100 or 60, there is something wrong somewhere, ought to be corrected. Having said that, I've seen that the government has proposed some recompensation to victims. This is what we call retributive justice. Partially retributive, because there is a hand that is saying this is a token to say pole, whilst we are not seeing somebody being taken to court or charged who perpetuated that act to the victims. So we could say that it is somehow a double standard from the government side, not to come out so clearly to use its apparatus to crack down on the rogue officers that perpetuated all these things. And as my brother has said, all these protests, they are always said to be peaceful, but problem always start when the police come in. Like, for example, today I was listening to Martha Karua while she was talking that when she was coming from her house, there were barricades on the road, and she had to lower her window so that police could see who she was. And from that moment to Serena, it was so peaceful. And my problem has always been that if we want to develop a culture of peaceful protest, it's a time that we need to talk to our police officers that they need to give it a chance. The moment they feel that security has been breached, that is the moment they ought to come in. And there are SOP, standing operating procedures for police, to come in and to rein on when these things happen. Going forward, we will want to see the government taking another step in ensuring that all people that were involved in maiming, in killing of all these people that lost their lives. They are brought to book and publicly they are charged in a court of law. And we as a people are able to see, witness, and to be able to get a satisfaction from seeing that justice has been rendered, not embellishing the whole process so that it can suit a certain narrative that something is being done to the victims. But we need to see justice as justice being done to everybody that was affected in one way or the other.
And maybe a lot from the law perspective in terms of accountability. We've seen the evidence has been presented in courts for those cases that are already in court. And why are we not seeing any progress in terms of those officers who are held culpable for these incidents brought to books? And also the question of the reparation, the 2 billion shillings that was issued out. Do you think that can inhibit the seek or the quest for justice for these families?
Article 23 of our Constitution gives courts the authority to make certain proper decisions on how compensation is done, on what comes about it after. But this only happens when proper and due process is followed. How is this done? How is this done? When someone is killed in the streets, then as an interested person, you go to the police station and then lodge a formal complaint and say that so-and-so was killed and these are the specific, you give your statement. And after giving your statement, it is in the position of the officer in the station to give you an OB of stating that so-and-so came and reported this. And after, sorry for that. Yeah. So after which, that is done, then it is now in the position of the ODPP to take action appropriately. And IPOA is to do the investigations and then file a report that needs to be followed up, and then criminal proceedings need to take action. We as normal citizens, we don't have the locus standing to take a criminal proceedings to court and then prosecute it. It is in the position of the state to support that. So what I say is the people who got involved, who were injured during the protests, they deserve compensation. And again, if you look at precedences in maybe other jurisdictions, you find that it is way much bigger than what they have received or they're supposed to receive. And that is not to be determined by an agent of the state or the executive. It is in the position of our courts, most specifically the High Court as the original jurisdiction to determine that. So I would say I would actually thank the government on what they have done, because some of these people have faced a lot of retributions. Probably there's a gentleman called Eric Moore I met yesterday who was, he told us he was a returning officer. He was taking back tear gas and he got injured, almost, his hand was almost chopped off, and used a lot of money in just getting treatments for that. And you know, once you get to that point, we use a lot of money, it is important that whoever caused your troubles pay you, compensate you a certain amount. But legally, that is not how it should be done. There should be proper petitions to court to identify what recourse needs to be given moving forward.
So in this case, what was the process? How was the process supposed to look like?
At the moment, we only have 2 cases in court. One is for Albert Ojwang, which I was part of, and then another one is for Rex Masai. And for Rex Masai is a judicial inquest. That is a proper overhaul into the system to get to know who did what, who killed what is it, and it takes a long time. It's almost 2 years now. It's not been closed up to now. And the only thing that needs to be done to the others, because they are saying that most of them lodged a complaint with, you should lodge a complaint at the police station, then the file is taken to IPOA for investigation, then they give a report to the DCI, and the proceedings go to the ODPP and all that. But most of them say that they lodge all these complaints, they take them to IPOA, and they're saying the Independent Policing Oversight Authority doesn't allow them to know whether their files are active or whether their cases were taken there. You know, that is a glitch into the process, because it is important for them to know whether their complaints reached the oversighting body. Someone like Eric Moore is the one I talked to, told me that he went to IPOA, tried to ask whether his file is active, tried to be provided with relevant information on the compensation or on what is the recourse for the state, and he was denied that opportunity. And some of those things need to be addressed properly, because these institutions, it's us, it's our funds, it's our money that puts them running. So they need to be accountable, and they need to operate with a lot of openness.
And definitely we will be getting back to you in terms of this particular protest actually changed and shaped the civic space around the country, the young people, you know, taking back their power. But before we get into that, now let's cross over to our reporter who's in Nakuru, Gishoi, for a live update